Have you ever felt a relationship slipping away, not with a bang, but with an echo? Welcome to Quiet Goodbyes, where we dive into the silent unraveling of connections when long paragraphs shrink into single-word replies. I'm your host, and today we're exploring how silence can speak louder than arguments. Ever heard of emotional bandwidth? It's like your phone's data, you can only give so much before it's gone. And then there's micro-communication, those tiny exchanges that make or break a bond. We'll chart a three-act journey: the buildup of sharing, the slow decay, and the chilling aftermath. Now, you might be thinking, isn't a fight worse than silence? But let me tell you, sometimes the absence of words is the loudest message you'll ever hear. Let's walk through how the words fade, why it hurts so much, and what we can do when the conversations that built our world start to crumble. Stay with me, because by the end of this episode, you'll never hear the same way again. Let's rewind to the early days, the era of long paragraphs. You know the ones. You pour your heart out at midnight, sharing stories, inside jokes, secrets. This is emotional labor, the invisible energy you invest in keeping the connection alive. Think of it as watering a plant. Every message is a gentle splash, nourishing the roots. But here's the twist. What happens when your water, your words, start falling on concrete instead of soil? That's the difference between active listening, when someone responds with energy, and passive acknowledgement, those or okay replies. Now, you might ask, isn't any reply better than none? But over time, those half-hearted answers chip away at intimacy. The plant doesn't die overnight. It wilts, slowly. Let me tell you about a friend who wrote novels over text, only to get a thumb-up emoji back. Ouch. That's not just disappointing, it's exhausting. The real story starts here, when one person is still typing essays and the other is barely present. Suddenly, something shifts. The paragraphs shrink. You hesitate before hitting send. Why? Because conversational reciprocity, the dance of give and take, has broken down. Imagine playing tennis, but the ball never comes back. You start asking yourself, am I oversharing? Maybe they're just busy. We rationalize the silence, but deep down, we feel it. This is the start of emotional distancing, like two continents drifting apart so slowly, you barely notice until the ocean's between you. Now, picture this. You spot the blue ticks, the read receipts. The reply? A single K. That's not just cold, that's glacial. The conflict here isn't angry words, it's what goes unsaid, and resolution rarely arrives. Instead, there's a quiet ache, a hunger for a connection that's already fading away. If you're nodding along, you know that feeling. The first time you hesitate to open your chat because you know you'll only get silence in return. One day, you realize something haunting. The person you used to tell everything to is now the person you tell nothing. This is the paradox of emotional estrangement distance, where there used to be closeness. There's no big fight, no dramatic exit, just muted vulnerability, your stories, questions, and dreams, now left unspoken. Think of it like two friends in a room, both afraid to break the silence, until the silence becomes their only language. You might tell yourself, we're just busy, things will change, but the truth is, these are incremental losses, not sudden ones. A message left on read here, a canceled call there, until the gap is too wide to cross. Now, you might be asking, should I say something? Should I fight for it? Sometimes the scariest part is not knowing when it's already over. This is the slow, almost invisible transformation when silence, not anger, ends a chapter. Let's break down why losing someone this way hurts so deeply. It's not the catastrophic rupture, the sudden explosive fight. It's the attritional drift loss by 1,000 tiny cuts. Every ignored message, every night spent waiting for a reply, is a thread snapped in the unseen web between you. Imagine a bridge where one plank disappears each day. At first, you can still cross. One day, you look up, and half the bridge is gone. You might say, but there was no goodbye. And that's the hardest part. There's rarely closure. No big moment to point to, just a slow fading out until you realize you don't remember the last time you really talked. This is the real heartbreak. not knowing exactly when you lost each other. The process is almost invisible, like watching a glacier melt, day by day, until suddenly there's nothing left but water and memory. So, how do we notice the signs before the bridge collapses? And more importantly, what can we do when we do? So, what can we take away from all these silent goodbyes? First, recognize the power of micro-communication, those little signals that add up to a relationship's health. Second, understand emotional bandwidth. Don't keep pouring yourself into empty conversations. And third, value presence over perfection. Sometimes it's not what you say, but that you're there at all. Here's one concrete step. If you notice the words fading, don't wait for total silence. Reach out. Ask the hard question. Sometimes, the scariest thing is what's left unsaid. Now, you might be wondering, what about when it's too late? That's what we'll explore next time. How to grieve a connection that never got a goodbye, and how to heal from heartbreaks that end in silence, not storms. If you've ever found yourself staring at your phone, rereading old messages, you're not alone. Join me next episode as we unpack strategies for closure and rediscover hope after the echo fades. Until then, remember,